Call to order the May 9th, 2018 meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District. Would the clerk please call the roll, establish a quorum?
Good morning. Directors Bruins. Present. Carr.
Here.
Frost.
Here.
Guerra.
Here.
Harris. Hume.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
McGarvey.
Here.
Morin.
Here.
Nottoli. Orozco. Peters.
Here.
Serna.
Here.
Villegas. Warren. Kennedy. You have a
Here.
quorum.
Thank you. Read the message.
This meeting of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation and Sacramento Area Sewer Districts is being broadcast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned for our hearing impaired viewers and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will replay Sunday at 6 p.m. on channel 14. In accordance with Government Code 54952.3, compensation for meeting of these legislative bodies is required to be verbally disclosed. The amount of $100 will be paid for each member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District, and the amount of $100 will be paid for each board member participating today as a member of the Sacramento Area Sewer District. Compensation for Sacramento County supervisors and City of Sacramento council members is paid to the county and city respectively to partially offset the costs of those governments. Compensation for other board members is delivered to the individuals. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker identification form located at the back of chambers and hand it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Please silence your electronic devices at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please read the first item.
Acting as your Sacramento Regional Sanitation District, District Consent Matters, items number 1.
Is there anyone has any questions about consent?
I'll move the item.
Second.
Moved by Director Morin, seconded by Director Peters. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Next item.
Acting as your Sacramento County Sanitation District's financing authority and Sacramento Regional County Sanitation District separate matters, item number 2, budget workshop for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. I'll spend a minute or two to summarize the Regional Sand budget workshop, and then David O'Toole will go through the details, spend a few minutes. This year, the request for this year is roughly $13 million, $12.7 million over the last year's budget request. And as I have laid out in the letter, and I'll summarize why the increases are, where they're coming from. Before I do that, I want to kind of give you, let me first go ahead and do where the increases are and just put in a perspective how we have fared over the last decade in terms of how the increases are. So of the $12.7 million, roughly, or $5 million is coming from chemicals and electricity. The cost, if you remember last year, we started a new process with the liquid chemicals for the Echo Water project. That liquid chemicals are expensive, and later this year we'll also be starting new treatment processes that are part of the Echo Water project, so we need to fund the chemicals for those processes as well, and the electricity. So that's where about a little over $5 million is coming from. And then also roughly about $2.75, $2.8 million is coming from an additional cost that from your board-approved confluence program, where the low-income folks, as well as the American River Parkway cleanup things and the sewer conversion projects and all of those that we presented to you last year. So that's an additional expenditures that are going to be budgeted for this upcoming year. $1.2 million in additional retirement contributions, largely from the SCSDFA system changing their actuarial rates, resulting in additional contributions being required for the upcoming year. About $1 million from additional temporary staffing that we would need to support the Echo Water project and some of the regulatory compliance for the existing treatment process. These are transient needs, so that's why we would be spending more, getting temporary resources as opposed to putting in permanent staff. And about $500,000 for the strategic plan implementation. If you remember last year, both districts prepared in Regional Sand's case, a 10-year strategic plan. We wanted to accomplish a number of things. So we have identified a list of activities, and so to implement and support that implementation, we've included a budget of $500,000 in it. And the rest of the $2 million or so come from all the other areas. COLAs, there's some cost of living adjustments budgeted in that, and some other increases, but these are small increases. Now, how do we compare in terms of the rate, the increases? If we looked at the last decade, back in 2009, our budget was $107 million. And what we're asking for is roughly $139 million, so which means, or 10-year period, we have increased our budget by about $30 million. That represents a 2.6% increase year over year in the last decade. Now, a bulk of that increase came from chemicals and electricity. In that same decade, when our budget increased by $32 million, $14 million of that went just for the chemicals and electricity, either by changing the process, the cost of chemicals, the amount of chemicals, and the energy that's being used. The rest of it went for all of the things, the COLAs, the retirements, the maintenance, and all of the things. So if you just look at the chemicals and electricity alone, their increases are roughly 6.5% year over year in the last decade, and the rest of it is only 2%, which is roughly at or below the inflation over the last decade. So that's what the current budget situation looks like. So with that, I want to ask David to kind of show you where some of the numbers are falling in.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Directors. My name is David O'Toole, and I'm the Director of Internal Services for the Sanitation Districts Agency, and I'll be presenting the district's, the Regional Sand budget as well as the SCSD budget this morning. We'll begin our budget workshop with the Regional Sand, and then if you have any questions along the way, please let me know. Let's see. Okay. First, let me give you the highlights for the regional sand operating budget. The total budget we are recommending for fiscal year 2018-19 is approximately $138.4 million, excluding depreciation and amortization. As an entity comprised of regional sand operations, policy and planning, public affairs, finance, and the internal services department, our net staffing decreased by 2 positions from the current year. Those positions were transferred to SASD. That brings our new full-time equivalent number of positions to 476. Staff that support both districts, which would be internal services, policy and planning, finance, and public affairs, that's 142 FTEs, and they're budgeted in regional sand, but funded from both regional sand and SCSD based on the work that they're doing. Let's see, this slide represents the 5-year operating trend. The additional uptick is attributable to the items mentioned in the board letter and what Prabhakar mentioned earlier. So just real quick, the cost of chemicals related to treatment processes in Echo Water was an additional $5.1 million. The board approved Confluence program additional $2.75 million. Retirement contributions were an additional $1.2 million. Temporary staffing related to Echo Water was $1 million. And then last, the strategic planning effort was about $500,000.
Question. Sorry.
Sure.
In the staff report, it says temporary staffing to meet transient needs related to Echo Water, and you just mentioned it. Is that transient meaning short-term or transient meaning people wandering onto the project?
It's a short term. So Echo Water project is going to sunset in a few years. And also, there are 2 components, as I mentioned.
I don't need a long explanation. I just want to know whether it's to have police on the project to keep people out.
Yeah, no, it's not to
Okay.
capture the wandering people.
It was just the word choice that made me wonder. Thank you.
It's a transient needs, means not the transient.
Okay.
The salary and benefits for regional sand increased $1.25 million, primarily due to costs increases in cost of living adjustments, group insurance, and retirement. Notable changes there are retirement and COLAs and health insurance reflect an increase of approximately $1.5 million, and that was offset by extra help, premium pay, and standby decreased by approximately $360,000. So with a few other smaller increases, it gets to the nets to the $1.25 million. Next slide. Moving on to regional sand operating costs. Services and supplies reflect an increase of over $8 million. Notable changes there. We've mentioned chemical costs was approximately $4.4 million. The budget category, which was called extra help, is now budgeted in temporary services, which pushes the costs up in that category, $2.4 million. Electricity costs increased about $700,000, and then other professional services, that $800,000 is due to the reassignment of those costs to the temporary services category, which I just mentioned. This is mostly IT contracts. Next slide, the regional sand, moving into the capital side of the budget. The total Echo Water amount shown indicates an increase of $46 million, so that $495 million includes $46 million from the prior year, reflecting the start of the tertiary treatment facility, which your board approved last month. And debt service includes payments to the state revolving fund that funded the Echo Water project. And the third item there is assorted other capital projects, $32 million. Let's see. This slide shows the other major regional sand capital projects. The details of this slide are on pages 30 to 32 in the budget book, which I think was in your package. Real quickly, these projects, the digester rehabilitation project has an estimated cost of $8.2 million. The digester gas management system modifications to improve system performance and regulatory compliance is at $4.2 million. Primary deck structure assessment and rehabilitation project, and the primary process area is $3.3 million. And the emergency storage basin D rehabilitation project to replace a deteriorating membrane liner for treated water diversions is $2.8 million. This next slide covers the rates. So the regional sand implemented a series of rate increases since 2011 to fund Echo Water, of course. There will be a $1 increase effective on July 1. This will generate $7.2 million next year. And as noted, approximately 80% or $13.50 of the $17 per month charge which is the amount of increase since 2011 is earmarked for Echo Water. So about 80% is for Echo Water. And that concludes the regional SAN budget presentation. If there are any questions?
Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
In looking at the chart that you showed, I mean, that just in literally in black and white is a pretty stark picture. It's a 30% increase or $35 million increase over 3 years. That's significant. I'm not saying it's avoidable, but it's significant. And my question is, with respect to the Echo Water project and changing our practices, are you saying to me that in addition to the $1.5 billion or so capital project, that there's an increase of at least $5 million in operating cost associated with that change in practice?
Yes. We have been incurring Echo Water-related operating costs for a few years now. Initially it started out as a staffing, and then now in the operational side of things. We have, in our projections, we have included roughly $42 million per year in addition to our current operating costs that would come from the Echo Water project when it's fully implemented. I think we have already incurred roughly $10+ million, $12 million in the operating costs related to it. But as we start the new processes, some of them are going to be started in this fiscal year, we would start gradually increasing those operating costs. So we could see this continue to increase over the next 3-4 years by another probably $20 to $30 million.
Well, and that was going to be my next question then, is that at some point do we plateau? I mean, we're not even fully implemented in the Echo Water.
Yeah, 2022, 23 is when we would essentially hit the top. So BNR, the Biological Nutrient Removal Project, is going to be started up late next year, which will start another kick up into the expenses because a lot of energy and some chemical costs and obviously the people. We've already hired a number of people into our operations staff because we got to train them and get them ready to be there to operate these facilities. So those chemical and electricity costs will increase next year when we bring that. And then we bring the filtration, which is late 2022, mid to late 2022. That's when our second jump up will happen, with the mid-2023 being essentially reaching the peak. So we could see the operating costs go up as much as another $30 million by that time, by 2023.
So by 2023, then, we could potentially be looking at an operating budget in the magnitude of $160+ million a year.
That's correct.
And that will be the cost of business going forward.
That is correct.
Even though, and this kind of goes back to Supervisor Peters' question, you have temporary services of almost $2.5 million. I would assume temporary means that cost comes off. But
that's right. So what temporary
operational
means are that we have to hire some staff for temporary services related to Echo Water project, as well as some regulatory compliance issues that we have for the existing process. So that temporary services are to hire contract staff to come in to get us through that temporary demand. And so that will go away. But on the other hand, you're observing right that on the other hand, our other fixed operating costs will go up and will reach the point that you are alluding to. And you will see in about 2 months, I think next June, we're going to be bringing back a 10-year financial plan for the regional SAN, which we do it every year. You will see the operating costs kind of reaching that $165, $170 million range by 2021, 22.
And then, so does our forecasting with respect to the rate increases we approved several years ago, as well as growth projections, does that account for $160 million going forward?
That's right.
Okay.
We have accounted that, and even with that accounting, we anticipate the rates to be within the range that your board has already approved. So we should be able to
Director Bruins.
Thank you. My initial question was answered in the process of answering Patrick's, but it brought up another question to mind, and that is, given the fact that the economy is on an upward swing, and presuming that continues at at least a moderate rate, could there be any adjustment in the future to what our ongoing costs are going to be, and that could be favorable to us?
So we in our long-term projections, we use roughly 2.8 to 3% inflation Historically, that's how it has been. If you look at really long term, 30 to 40 years, 3 to 3.5%. So we are right at that point. What is unpredictable is in terms of our retirement costs and staffing costs and how they would increase in the next 5 years.
True.
So far, they've stayed within a reasonable range. So the difficult part for us to predict was the chemicals. Because we have the chemical that we're using, there's very short supply. I mean, so just a few vendors and the quantities, we need large quantities. We're essentially one of the, if not the largest user of that particular chemical. So we are essentially at the risk of the global fluctuations, whatever that happen. It's hard to predict. But I think the 10-year financial plan that we do, it helps us look forward and make those adjustments. But we also have a sufficient cushion that over the years that your board has approved rate increases, I think we can weather those and plan more gradually to see if things need to be changed.
Okay. So I'm hearing you say really the unknown future cost of chemicals is the biggest variable, not so much the economy.
That is correct. A big variable is chemicals. Luckily, we locked energy side of it last year. If you remember that we got into solar shares agreement. So we now have roughly close to 50% of our energy is coming from solar program, both on-site as well as with SMUD. So our rates are locked over the next 20 years. So I think over the time, actually, we will benefit from that. Even though initially we're paying slightly more. Actually, that's one of the reasons why our costs are higher in electricity is we are paying a little bit more initially for the reason to lock it for the next 20 years. So electricity, I think we're good. Our budget is roughly $13–14 million, and that'll increase substantially once we bring these new processes in place, especially the BNR and the tertiary treatment filtration. So in that realm, that's good, that we have more certainty there. Chemicals remain uncertain. I mean, we'll just do the best we can, and that's where we are.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Is there any questions of anyone in the public? Okay, thank you very much. Point. The next item is comments from publics on issues not posted on the agenda. Is there any member of the public that would address something not on the agenda? Next item.
Sacramento County, acting as your Sacramento County Sanitation District's Financing Authority and Sacramento Area Sewer Districts, District Separate Matters, item number 4, Budget Workshop for fiscal year 2018-2019.
So just as Regional SAN, I'll just say a couple words, hopefully shorter here, about SASD. SASD's request is roughly $5 million over last year, even though the budget is lower than the last year because there's an accounting practice that made us take bad debt off the budget and put it on the accounting side. So where is that $5 million increase coming from? Roughly $1.6 million from retirement, just as you heard from the Regional SAM side. About $900,000 or $850,000 coming from the construction services and heavy equipment leases that for the charges of our heavy equipment that we get from the county. And then $700,000 for the Confluence program, which, helping with the cleanups and the sewer connections and all those things that your board approved. And then again, $500,000 for the strategic action plan implementation. Together, that's about $3.7 million of the $5 million increase. And the rest of the $1.3 million is from the cost of living adjustments and the smaller increases from elsewhere. So that's kind of summary of the SASD budget. Just as the Regional SAN budget and even the SASD, today is just a workshop, and we will bring back at the next board meeting for your final approval. David, come on up and just kind of highlight what the...
Good morning again. Now I'll be presenting the SCSD budget workshop. So beginning with your highlights slide there, budget overview. The total budget that we're recommending for 2018-19 is $86.5 million almost, excluding depreciation and amortization again. SASD total staffing increased by the 2 positions transferred from Regional SAN, which I spoke of earlier, and bringing the total count to 300 positions. The staffing figure is pure SASD staffing, as I mentioned earlier. The central services function of Internal Services Department, Policy and Planning, Public Affairs, and Finance are all positions that are in Regional SAN but do support SASD. And last I note there, for the 8th straight year, we have no rate increases. Getting to our chart again. This slide represents the 5-year operating budget trend. Important thing to note right away is, as Prabhakar mentioned, is the decline this year is not due to decreased costs, but really an accounting change related to bad debt, which was formerly budgeted as an expense, will be for the first time reflected as accounts receivable. And our income on the balance sheet, resulting in a total decrease of about $11.5 million. Setting aside that accounting change, there are still increases in SASD of about $5 million, which Prabhakar just highlighted for you and are in your packet. Retirement contributions, confluence, strategic plan, etc. And now moving into salaries and benefits, the SASD will increase roughly $1.3 million due to increases in retirement, 2% COLA increase, and health insurance increases. Some of the notable changes there are retirement contributions increased by about $800,000. A cost of living increase results in an additional $775,000. The remainder of the increase is mostly due to health insurance and OASDI, about $128,000. And extra help and premium pay actually increased, so offsetting those increases by $382,000. Next slide on operating costs. Services and supplies, as noted there, increased by $2.6 million. And the notable changes there, temporary services is now budgeted, extra help is now budgeted in temporary services, and reflects an increase of almost $2 million. An increase in construction services and supplies of approximately $540,000, and heavy equipment rental increased by $305,000 there. And the decreased costs offsetting is by about $600,000 is construction equipment maintenance and services. Moving into the capital part of our budget. The capital budget, again, excluding depreciation and amortization, is roughly $35.5 million. The $6.2 million increase noted there is on the PowerPoint is an increase relative to the prior year budget, largely attributable to the capital projects list which we'll be going into on the next slide. And debt service noted there, $10.6 million is for outstanding debts, outstanding bonds from prior years. And then moving into the major capital projects, some quick highlights and amounts for each of these. The lower lateral replacement project includes various projects without the SASD service area. Estimated cost in the budget year is $8.4 million. By the way, these are all the projects are located on pages 24 and 25 of your budget book. It's a lower lateral, and then Freeport septic conversion project involves converting septic systems in that community. That's budgeted at $4 million. Rosemont Pump Station rehab, functional replacement of that is at $2.8 million. The mainline cured in place pipe projects, we're replacing the lining for main lines throughout the service area. That's at $1.7 million. And then the Mission Trunk Rehabilitation Project, which will provide a functional rehab of that, or functional renewal of that Mission Trunk, has an estimated cost of $1.5 million. That brings me to questions, and if I can request your indulgence for a moment, I do want to thank a few people who worked on this budget. Becky Schaefer, can you raise your hand? So, as our senior administrative analyst who led the budget process for the last several years, and actually this is my first budget, so she showed me the ropes on how to do this. Thank you. And then Randy McKay, raise your hands there. Okay, worked on many parts of our budget, but particularly the budget book that you have there. Anna Nicolau coordinated the SASD and regional SAN work centers in developing the budget with our staff there. And another individual, Catherine Halsey, who couldn't be here, but she was our budget development guru for SASD. So I want to thank them, and then the many budget staff that support them, who for them it's a laborious labor of love, if you will. That's it. Welcome your questions.
Director Bruin.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. I have a couple questions. Back to the overtime and extra costs decline. This suggests to me that we budgeted for overtime and extra costs and just didn't spend that much money. Is that correct?
Part of that offset is coming from the 2 positions that were moved that we have filled. And so as we get permanent employees, that will decrease slightly.
Okay, so, but my question is, did we actually budget for overtime and budget for extra costs? We did, okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. And then, could you just share a little bit what temporary services we use for SASD that are up to $1.1 million?
So looking at that item, part of that $1.2 million, there was about a good chunk of that there was budgeted and for IT purposes. It was moved from other professional services to this, and so the offset of this, the work that's done here is about $600,000, and about $450,000 of that is for TVI review and data cleanup for ops.
So if this was moved from another department, was it mainly a shift in cost?
It was.
Not really an increase, but a shift.
So the increase was about $645,000 total, but this one is just one of the ones at top that reads it's 1.2 from last year.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Where you're going is about 600 to 700 was budgeted elsewhere in a different bucket, got moved into temporary service. That's IT. So a number of, we, in the IT department, both for regional SAN and SASD, more so on the SASD side, we have more contract staff doing work as opposed to permanent staff.
Okay.
So their salaries were budgeted at a different location. They're moved to the temporary services. Mm-hmm. That shows as an increase. That's number one.
Okay, so are we going forward, provide these services under the same model so that we'll have temporary services, which are really contract services, what I'm hearing you say?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then the other question I had was the decrease at the bottom of that page in construction equipment maintenance and service. Can you just explain that decrease to me?
Sure. We have taken on our light fleet, our light vehicles. Those have come internally. So the cost for the general services, fleet services provision has gone down, and that's what you see here.
Okay, so it's a greater efficiency.
And we have partial vendor, partial fleet services.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Thank you. Next item.
For your last item, item number 5, miscellaneous director and district engineer matters.
Are there any directors' discussion of issues for future consideration?
Just a couple of things. We will have a next meeting on May 23rd. We'll bring back the budgets, and also there are a couple of Echo Water related projects that we got the bids for. Thank God, they're clean bids, so hopefully we will have no circus at the next board meeting. The other thing is that just want to give you an update on the South County Ag Program. If you remember that we are working on a project to deliver tertiary treated water once we have the Echo Water project is complete, to deliver water to the farmers so they don't take the water from the ground water basin, and where there's a hole in the ground that will be filled up and there's environmental benefits to it. It involved us to apply for a permit. If you remember that currently we have to discharge our water into the river. To put it someplace else, we need a permit from the state. There were a number of protests, and we are almost there in resolving those protests, and we are hoping to get that permit pretty soon from the state. That's number one. 2, we have also applied for a grant from the Proposition 1 bond, where there's a $2.7 billion of the Proposition 1 bond is allocated for storage projects, especially conjunctive use, which is what this is. In that $2.7 billion funding, if you've been paying attention to the newspapers, there's a lot of commotion in terms of how the dollars are being awarded and the scores are being allocated and whatnot. We started out being at the top of the pack as a project having the highest public benefit ratio. This was some months ago with all the bickering and that went on. We still ended up last Friday in a very good position. Director Nottoli testified on behalf of the project. And a lot of environmental organizations that are in support, Farm Bureau, there's a lot of support. Actually, I think our project has the most support of any project that's on that list. Other projects have opposition, but we have no opposition whatsoever. In the end, that commission has come to a conclusion that our project would be eligible for $280 million grant. So there are 2 or 3 more steps that are involved. We think we're going to do well in those steps. As a matter of fact, I think our positions compared to the rest of them are better in the other areas of scoring, especially because our project is so far in advance in planning compared to the rest of them. So we're guardedly optimistic that we can get a substantial grant to the project, and obviously we'll be bringing forth a lot of things to your board later this year in terms of entering into the agreements and taking next steps in the designs and whatnot. But I just wanted to give you an update that that's where we are.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, anything else? All right, one minute late, but 10 minutes early.
Thank you.